Hi, and welcome back. Let's start today's session by reading the story of the Centurion of Capernaum in Matthew 8, verses 4 through 13, before watching the rest of the video. This month, we've been discussing experiencing our faith. We've talked about how experiences lead to knowledge about God and how this knowledge leads to greater trust in Him. We've also discussed how an extraordinary God uses ordinary people like Elijah to accomplish things for His glory. Now we'll take a look at the story of the Centurion of Capernaum. In Matthew 8, we see the centurion's servant was sick and ready to die. We find an indication that the slave must have been dear to the centurion because his master intentionally sought out Jesus to heal him. Furthermore, there must have been a mutual respect between the centurion and the Jews. This is based on the fact that the Jewish elders testified of the centurion's love for the Jewish nation, and additionally, that he had even been instrumental in building their synagogue. The centurion requested the elders to go on his behalf and asked Jesus if he might be willing to heal his dying servant. Jesus agreed and immediately went to see the centurion. What an honor to get a response so quickly from Christ. When the centurion finally met Jesus, though, he showed great humility, telling Jesus he wasn't even worthy enough to receive him under his own roof. The centurion displays great faith in Jesus' power to heal when he says, "But speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed." Jesus marveled at the centurion's faith. He said, "Truly I say to you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel." Remember the Canaanite woman's story from session 1? Here's another Gentile who shows unshakable belief in Jesus. Now there are two main points from this story that we're going to focus on. 1, that Jesus' miracles always served God's purposes. And 2, that faith is an essential characteristic of a Christian's life. Jesus' miracles always served God's purpose, and each gospel speaks of these miracles as real events. Through them, we know Jesus is the Messiah, and that God cares about us as human beings. The miracles which the Son of God performed primarily in the earlier half of his ministry, were many and diverse. He healed the sick, cast out evil spirits, and even raised the dead. In this instance, where the centurion's servant was healed, as in many other instances, the purpose was to reveal Jesus' deity as the Son of God. God is Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ is God. So why is faith such an essential characteristic of a Christian's life? I think the centurion is a model example of why. You see, he wasn't the type of guy to sit around and wait for God to act. He sought to experience God's power firsthand. We also have to have that kind of experiential faith rather than a passive faith. We need to keep Mark, the 9th chapter and the 23rd verse in mind. If you can believe, all things are possible. Jesus' response to the centurion, who was a Gentile, reveals that God doesn't look at our outward appearances, but is more interested in the salvation which comes by faith in His Son, Jesus Christ. Hebrews 11, the 6th verse reads, "But without faith it is impossible to please Him. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. The servant was healed based on the centurion's faith in Jesus' power to heal. Interestingly, we don't know whether the servant had faith in Jesus or not. Similarly, the church extends an invitation to all mankind, both living and the departed, to place their faith in Jesus Christ as their healer and redeemer. Those who believe in Jesus as their Savior and who profess their faith in Jesus Christ to others and intercede for them can experience his saving grace so that they can continue to grow in their spiritual development. This concludes our series on experiencing our faith. Thanks for watching, and please turn to your discussion guides for further exploration.